afternoon, all my Stampin' friends. It's Anita once again with Artistically Yours, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And I hope you guys are having a great day. As you see, I got my hair cut since last week's video. It feels so much better. I really needed a trim, and I didn't think it would be quite this short, but my hair grows pretty fast, so I'm glad about that. So, just a couple announcements. Bonus days are still going on until August the 3rd. So if you make a $50 purchase, you get a $5 coupon code that's good to use after that during the month of August. If you place a $100 order, you'll get 2 of them. So you can all use them the same time. So that's for that. Exciting news! I've been working hard this week, and I have my very own YouTube channel where you're going to find all of the live videos that I do on this page, all my Tuesdays at 2s, plus some other extra ones that I do. They're going to be on my YouTube channel. So I will put the link on below this video as well, but I think I already put it on the page, but I'll do it all again later. I also started a new Instagram page just for my Stampin' Up! Cards. So the cards that I make, I will be posting on there just so that you guys can see what I'm doing, and if you like a certain stamp set, colors, whatever, you can of course always contact me and I can help you find it in the catalog and help you place any orders you would like to place. My other news is that I have decided that I'm going to start selling some of my older woodblock stamp sets. So, excuse me, most of you are here local, fairly local. I'm willing to drive and deliver, or if you're coming through near my house, pick up. No worries. I will be offering them for sale. Excuse me, all of a sudden I've got a frog. So the 2 that I'm going to feature this week for sale is this one, and this is called The World Over. Super cute. If you have, I was going to say Stamparatus, that's not going to work with the wooden blocks. Sorry, I take it back. But it's really a cute stamp set. And these you can also find pictures of on Pinterest. And they were from, I've had a lot of fun looking through this older catalog. This one was from 2006, 2007. The wood blocks were something that we always had then. That was before the cling and photopolymer. We always had the wood blocks. So they're nice because, I mean, you don't need to have the extra acrylic block. But they're nice because they fit in your hand well. See the little groove there? This one says, Seeds of Friendship Bring Flowers of Joy. And then the other one says, Snowy Days, Frosty Nights, Warm Hearts. So that's a nice wintertime one. And this was one that I think I used the most. Everyone smiles in the same language. So I think that's a lovely sentiment. And all of these look pretty good on the back. I used them a few times, but not horribly often. So they're like brand new. They're still pretty rubbery. And so I will be posting a picture of this with the price after our video today. The other one I'm going to feature today is called Summer by the Sea, which is also super, super cute. This is nice if you have watercolor pencils or markers, because you'll need to color in some of the beautiful colors on these. So that's going to be another one that I'm going to post today with the price, and there you have it. And if you would like to order stuff, you can even wait, and every week I'll be trying to put a couple on and I'll feature them in my video. But then that way, if you're interested, you can just say, yes, I want that, save it for me, and I will, we can arrange payment. PayPal is great, cash, whatever works best for you. I love PayPal because it's easy. So if you want to do that, let me know. And let's get on with today's project. I got my order. So this week I'm going to use this stamp set. It's called Jar of Flowers. I've always wanted one with a mason jar, and actually it's funny that I was just looking through that old catalog and they also had a mason jar in there. So this is really, really cute. And I'm not color matching today with what I have on, but I figured since I'm going to do sunflowers, these here in the top corner, I figured I'd wear my sunflower scarf. And then I'm also going to use one stamp here from the Lovely You stamp set, because this one, the Jar of Flowers, has no sentiments. So it gives you the opportunity to use nothing, or why now, do whatever you want. So this Jar of Flowers bundles with this jar punch, which is pretty cool. I mean, you don't have to get them both together. I think they were $36.75 together, but you can also buy them separately, but you do save 10% by doing it together. So the colors we're going to use today, I've got some Balmy Blue, which is 5.5 by 4.25, and then a piece of crushed curry that is 5.25 by 4, and then I've got a piece of Whisper White that is 5 by 3.75, and I've got a little scrap because we're going to punch out our jar. Now, you don't have to punch out the jar if you don't have the punch, but it's just kind of, it gives a little more dimension. What I also love about these new photopolymer stamps is they come, and this one came with 2 different sheets, but it's nice because on the inside of the container it tells you pretty much this is the way we put them, and so you can match them up accordingly. Actually, it was more like this. So you can match them up inside there, and then kind of keeps things a little bit neater. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to tilt you down. And today, believe it or not, we're not using the Big Shot. Surprising, right? All right, we're going to start with some Balmy Blue. And first of all, what I'm going to do is stamp this little scrap with the Balmy Blue mason jar. And it's always good if you can stamp first and then punch. That's actually ideal, because then you can see exactly where you're going to punch it out. So we're just taking the jar itself. There we go. And in front of me, I've got the Stampin' Scrub, in case you wonder why I'm up here. That seems to work out best for me as far as getting things put in a reasonable fashion. Now, what I love about this Jar of Flowers stamp set, you can see on the case, you've got the mason jar, and then you've got a blacked out one. The same with the partial mason jar, right? It's got a blacked out edge. That's because these 2 stamps are reversible. So one side, you're going to get this sort of an image. The other side, you're going to get this image. So we're going to use the downside, or the, I don't know what you call it. And what I'm going to do is tap, but then I am going to stamp off, because I don't want it to be the same color as that. You want it to be able to look a little different. All right, that's really juicy. Let's try again here. Let's see how this works out. Okay, that's good. So can you see what it did? So it made a lighter image of the Balmy Blue, because I didn't want it to cover up all the little lines. And water is sort of see-through anyway, right? All right, we're going to shut up our Balmy Blue, and let's punch out our jar. So the Stampin' Up! Punches all have a little lock on them. I haven't used a lot of punches, so I haven't explained a lot of this. Some of the older ones don't, but the new ones lock up, and it makes them more compact. See? And all I'm going to do is slip this paper in here. Uh-oh, it's a little bit. I'm going to trim it up. I save every piece of scrap paper because even a size that's like this, I'm going to use it today. So let's try this again. We'll get this in here evenly, as even as we can. And it is a little bit small for this, but you know what? I'm going to try to make it work just so that, whoops, I see it's a little bit off. If you have a bigger piece of scrap, it definitely is a little bit easier to do. All right, so we've got that piece all cut out. I'm going to set it aside for now. Okay, we're done with these two. So now what I'm going to do is get the sunflower stamp. And I discovered a way to remember which ones are cling and which are photopolymer. So these are the photopolymer and they are the clear stamps. You can see right through them. See? The others are the cling stamps, and they are the ones that are the sort of the terracotta color, right? So the way that I'm going to try to remember that is the cling are not clear, all right? Cling are not clear. So these are called photopolymer. Let's get out our paper. Now, if you don't have the punch and you're cutting this out or stamping it, it's no problem. If you have the punch, you can either stamp, or I'm just going to move this out of the way because I want it in a certain direction. So I'm using Early Espresso, a little bit of a dab there, and it goes like this. And I want it to be kind of even. Whoops! Well, I just inked up that, didn't I? So we turned it over. That's what we do. All right, let's put that in place. There. And what I found is when you use these dark colors, your stamps can get discolored. It doesn't mean that that brown is going to come off on everything. It won't, as long as you've cleaned it. But I also bought this stamp cleaning pad from Stampin' Up, and it kind of just helps to, you know, get some of the color off there so that it's not quite so discolored. When you're using lighter colors, it doesn't do that, but it seems with the red and browns, it does. All right, so that's all we've got to do as far as this. Oh no, take it back. We've got some stems we've got to stamp. So for that, I'm going to use the Granny Apple Green. Let's get my stems out here, because you don't just have flowers on top of a mason jar without stems in the water, right? So we've got the Granny Apple Green. Whoops, I got to put it on my mason jar, not there. All right, let's make sure we've got it in the right direction here. There, now we're done with all the stamping. So what I want to do today, which I usually don't do too much of, is I'm going to use the watercolor pencils. So these are the watercolor pencils assortment number 2. So there's 10 different colors in here, and they're all colors that are part of, not the in colors, but our regular colors. So let's see, and they're called watercolor for a reason. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. So let's just start coloring in, and it doesn't have to be exact, and I will tell you why. We're going to use our blender pens, not the blender pens. These, yeah, it is a blender pen. It's the clear blender pen. You can probably also use the aqua painters to do this, that are just filled with a little bit of water. And you can see why you don't have to be exact. Just give me just a second and I will color this in. So I am excited about my new YouTube and Instagram. I'm hoping that, you know, that'll give me a little more exposure than I've just had on this page. Granny Apple Green. We're just gonna color in some of the green parts. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. It's all kind of a learning curve, but it's time to step up a little bit and start doing a little more than what I have been doing. And so I would love it if you guys would like my YouTube page and follow me on Instagram, because I may not always be posting everything, all my cards that I make on here, but I will be posting them on Instagram. Then we've got Gorgeous Grape. I'm just going to color this in, and then the other one is the Balmy Blue. And you can see that this blue color looks more like a indigo blue or a cobalt blue, but it's not going to be when we're done. All right, so now I'm going to take the blender pen, and the blender pen is no color. It's the one that I sometimes, you know, when I'm squeezing my ink pads, that's why. And so all this is going to do is just kind of give a little bit of a watercolor effect and spread out that color that we've put on here. Okay, and one more. So can you sort of see the difference between what I've already watercolored and what I haven't? And I also have openings in my schedule for Facebook parties or in-home parties. We had a lot of fun here a couple weeks ago doing an in-home party via Zoom. I mean, I went to the hostess's house, and then she had laptops set up with Zoom for the other guests. So that really worked out pretty well, because then we could all interact with each other. The only difference was that they couldn't make the exact products because they were not, you know, living close by, and so I couldn't really drop stuff off to them. Okay, so now I'm just going to do the same a little bit in here, and that's going to mix that brown around, even though it was just with the ink pad. Alrighty. I do have an in-home and a Facebook party starting on the 9th through the 15th of August. Any other time period is probably going to work just fine. Alright, and now I'm going to use the new Stampin' Seal. I literally just opened this up today, and I'm going to show you the difference here. This is the Stampin' Seal. This is the snail, and they are right on top of each other. So you can see the size difference, right? The snail is much, much smaller. The Stampin' Seal is bigger. The little cover doesn't just flip up, it comes completely off. So I'm hoping I'm not going to lose that. But otherwise, you do have to kind of get it started a little bit. But then once you do, it rolls pretty nice. I've had people that have, you know, either said, yeah, I love it, or I don't love it. But today's my first day using it, so I really don't have an opinion yet. All right, so there's that. And then we're going to, I already put the score line in the Balmy Blue. Okay, now we're going to do the same with this. Roll it along. It doesn't make that snail noise. Again, this is called the Stampin' Seal, and you do kind of have to hold it at a certain angle, but hopefully I will get used to that eventually. All right, so let me put the top back on there so I don't lose it. And then I have a couple of dimensionals that we're going to put on this jar. And you see I used, even though the back had a little bit of mark on it, doesn't show on the front, Oh, the other thing I forgot was that I was going to did this when I made the other card too. Granny Apple Green. I should have thought of that before I put the dimensionals on the bottom, but it's okay. I'm just going to color in some of these stems. And let's just, probably doesn't need it so desperately on here. And then I always clean off my blender pen a little bit. All right, so now we're going to take the back stickers off here. And I'm going to line it up here. Cute, huh? So here's an example, though. I started coloring this in just on a piece of paper without punching out the jar. So you can see you can do it either way, but punching out the jar just gives it a little more dimension. It makes your card a little more interesting. So now we're just going to use a little espresso brown. And I have a friend who just had some surgery. And, you know, anytime you have surgery, it's a little scary. But I want to cheer her up. So from this Lovely You stamp set, there's a really nice stamp that says, "Let's cheer you up." So I intend to give this card to her. I'm going to write it and mail it. And I'm just going to put this just like that. And I think I forgot to, there, I did forget that. I did all the rest and forgot the gorgeous grape little thistle. And that, my friends, is the project for today. And the other card that I made, I actually found a little yellow ribbon that I put on, and I'm still going to probably add that to this card before I mail it. So let me know what you think in the comments, but I really think I'm going to like this card set, or the stamp set. And the other thing that I like is that I saw a card on Pinterest, and I'm just going to stamp it on my scratch pad so I can kind of show you what they did. And then I'm going to go, I promise. I don't want to keep you guys too long. All right, so here's what they did. Let me just find my brown, my early espresso. And I won't take the time to color these in and, you know, with you here. But they basically stamped the flowers, and then they used the markers to color them in. You could probably get away with using the sponge daubers, my favorite thing. All right, and then they took this and lined it up. So this is not perfect, and then they put a little ribbon right here without even using the jar, which I thought was a really, really cute idea. All right, so that's all I've got for you today. I went over a little in all my excitement. I try to keep it at about 20 minutes, but today was a little longer. But stay tuned. Keep an eye out for my woodblock stamps that I'm going to be selling, and Instagram and YouTube. All right, those 3 things. And if you'd like to place an order, the July Hostess code is also here on the page. You can always direct message me and I will respond to you. All right, have a great afternoon, everyone. Bye-bye.